Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with other entrepreneurs that have overcome and want to provide value to the audience. So it's Dr. V here, where our coaching program teaches nurses to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. So today on our podcast, we have Miss Phyllis Riles. So Phyllis, tell us a little bit about you. So give us, like a short bio from your perspective.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Kingdom blessings, as I like to say. First of all, thank you for having me here this morning. Who is excited? This girl is excited. I am so happy to be here. I am Phyllis Carter Riles, registered nurse, proud, say it loud. I am proud. I also have a master's in healthcare administration, a BSN, I have a CIC, a MOUSC. Listen, we can talk about all of those things. The bottom line is God has graced me, God has favored me to walk in a space that I did not know I could walk in. I didn't know that it existed. And so I'm excited to be here today just to tell you a little bit about my new mentoring program. I believe that my mission in this season is to cultivate audacious goal setting nurses, or CAN. And my new baby is Can Nurse Mentoring and Coaching, where I take nursing students right now, but even fledgling nurses, and walk them through the ropes, get in their ear, show them those things that nursing school did not teach us, so that they too one day can sit on a stage with a Dr. V, with a Phyllis Riles, and bring others along. When we know better, we do better. Each one reach one, all those wonderful things. So I'm excited about being here. Let's go. Let's bless somebody this
I
morning.
love it. I love it. I love it. So now tell us a little bit about why you wanted to start the mentoring program.
Many years ago, actually, I was given the mandate, and for lots of reasons, probably needed mentoring myself. I was very slow with the uptake of doing things that God had told me to do. And even to today, I still struggle with okay, I'm going to do it, and I am learning and have learned and continue to learn that delayed obedience is disobedience.
Right.
And I honestly believe that there are people who are called to our voice, that there are people who have been assigned to what we have been allowed to walk through and learn. Over 30 years of nursing, I have walked through and learned some things. Over six decades of life, I have walked through and learned some things. And my purpose is to help others. Many years ago, I was in high school and I was dealing with the issue, high school, right? It was high school even back then. And I remember going through this situation, and I had an African American teacher. I had several actually, and I said to her, "Why didn't you tell me something? Why didn't you say something?" She said, "Honey, it's sometimes some things people have to experience." She said, "I could tell you all day long that there's a hole right here. Be careful, there's a hole. Watch out, there's a hole." But for some people, until they fall into that hole, they don't get the revelation. They are bound and determined to do things their way. And while I appreciate that logic, um, I don't know that I completely embrace it. I do believe that there's some things that people need to experience, but how they experience it, how we, those of us who are on the other side of the whole, um, nurture them and bring them along will determine what lasting effects it has. So I do believe that the Bible says that there are not many fathers. I also believe that there are not many mothers as well, that we have a responsibility that when we've gone through the storm and rain, to bring others along. They may still stub their toe. They may still even fall into the hole, but they don't have to be engulfed by the hole. And so I believe that that's one of my purposes here.
That's very interesting, her vantage point on that. Now, I am a believer, sort of like you are. I'm a believer that we need to teach. We need to tell you about that hole. Now, if you choose to walk in that hole, that's your
Mhm.
choice, right?
Mhm.
But I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you about the hole before you get there, because our influence is mighty. Like we have to be intentional about our influence when it comes to influencing people. And so I'm so glad that you have gotten to that point where you are starting to mentor other nurses. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting about your life is your history of domestic violence. So let's talk about that. So you were married to a man that physically abused you, right? Correct.
Yes, physically, emotionally, mentally, all of it. Yes.
So now tell us, like, how long, like, tell us the story. How long were you married to him? How long did you date? Did he show any signs before you married him? Any of that?
This is where the story gets embarrassing, and now I'm sure the listeners are like, how can you be embarrassed about that? You didn't do anything. I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed about the part that I played in that.
Okay.
I knew what this person's tendencies were. I had been, I had a bullseye, an eagle vantage point about personality traits that this individual had. But I, like many abused women, think that's not going to happen to me.
Mm,
And if your listeners haven't picked up on it yet, I am a believer, and so I believed, Jesus is going to protect me because this is
mhm,
not going to happen to me. I'm going to get him. I'm going to fix him.
mhm,
I'm going to pray this off of him. This isn't going to be my portion, and that's not true. Often cases, like probably more than not, abusers don't change their stripes. First of all, unless God does it, but you have to submit yourself. God doesn't beat you down to give you this deliverance that Jesus has already paid for. And so I have reason to know. And so after dating many, many, many years, I had known him for many years, and so knew what his propensities were. But um, all the way throughout, I mean, it was one thing or another. I can go on and on and on about one story after another. And so not only was I physically and emotionally abused, my children were emotionally abused. My children, which were not his children, were emotionally abused. He abused everyone. He abused and put undue pressure. He used his influence to pressure people, and so that's abuse as well. When you use things that you can provide to sway or move people in particular directions. So he did that with his siblings. He did that with his own children, a former spouse. So that's who that individual was. Even his mom, for that matter, were all victims of this toxic personality.
and so, what was the pivot for you to pivot? You knew this is I'm not going to. So, first, tell us an incident where you were like, I'm not, like, you were like, I cannot believe I'm in this. Just tell us one.
My goodness, let me think of one quickly because I was a nurse. I was a whole nurse, a whole professional. My clinical specialty is obstetrics and gynecology, and as many of you will know, that um, during pregnancy, women are most vulnerable for domestic violence, and so I had many, many occasions where I walked alongside my patients and encouraged them and saying, honey, you're going to be okay. Going home to a similar situation myself. So, the height of hypocrisy. So many, let's see, what is a quick one? Here's one. Many times, I would grab my children and I would go away. I would leave. And he would follow me, even out of town. He would go, and he was the face of the doting spouse. One of the ways that he influenced people is through. And I think I told you this. He was a great provider, and that's probably even something that I need to rethink about how I even say that. Was he a great provider? It came with an awful cost. And so I remember once going to Michigan to my sister cousin's house, and she thought he was an amazing person. And because he provided, he was charismatic, he was all of those things. And I remember her saying, "I wish I had a me," in using his name. "Oh, I wish
Mhm.
I had one of those." And I said, "Do you?" And that's all I would
Mhm.
say. And that takes me back to the idea of how we pull domestic violence into mentoring. We do, those of us who have come through, of us who have survived, we have a responsibility. Even in that, even in her statement, the "my do you," she didn't understand what that meant, but I
Mhm.
knew what that meant. We have a responsibility to help others see the signs. We have a responsibility to encourage others. Now, I realize that there is a season, because I was there. I left for real, had stuff. This man hunted me and found me through my church people. And sure enough, what did I do? I went back. How many times did I leave and go back? So I think that somehow we have got to figure out in the field of domestic violence to be able to entreat people and allow them to find a safe place. Now, even as I say that, I'm hearing that everybody's not called to everybody's voice. There will be somebody that will hear a Phyllis Riles that somebody else won't. And so, how we package our story, how we tell our story, how we use our story to influence or encourage is key. It's all about the message and how you use it.
So now tell me what when you left, like
Mhm.
what did that look like?
So the final leaving actually happened because my son, who is now a grown man, and I'm remarried 11 years, uh,
To the amazing.
to the amazing. Listen, do you see? It's like, hey, listen, let me
What?
shout out to the Right Reverend Elder James Riles. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Not only amazing man of God, but an amazing. When your name precedes you, just like your bad habits precede you. Listen, when people show you who they are,
Believe them
believe them.
the first time.
Believe them the first time. So again, that goes back to the beginning of the story. I knew. Same thing with Elder James Riles. Everyone speaks well of him. Wonderful man, wonderful sibling, wonderful son. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I just spoke with him last night, and he told me of a story of how he um, came to the rescue of a relative from out of town who had come to our town and got stranded, and how before he even went to work he took her to the airport. That's the kind of man I have now. But what happened, my son, it was another case of foolishness. I'll just call it foolishness, another case of foolishness. And I remember my daughter saying to me, this man was very manipulative. Be aware of manipulative personalities. And like I said, he used his charisma and the things about him uh, to control everyone. And so it happened to be a rainstorm, a terrible storm. And he went out in the storm. He was angry about something, normal, was angry about something. And so he was out in the storm. And I remember standing in our front door, the sirens were swirling and screaming, take cover, get in the closet, in the bathtub, do something. And I remember standing in the door, tears running down my face, worried. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? But then something, I knew what was happening, but I was still worried. I knew that I was being manipulated. And I screamed out, God, when are you going to deliver me? And from behind me was my daughter. And she said, from the depths of her soul, when are you going to deliver yourself?
Mhm.
If that isn't it, I get chills thinking about that. She said, "When are you going to deliver yourself?" She,
How old was she?
oh my goodness, she was 17.
Wow.
She was
Hmm.
17. And she started pulling me away from the door. And she, of course, I didn't resist her. I came with her and she slammed the door because we needed to go and protect ourselves. So that was the first part. The second part was, I mentioned my son. My son was growing into, so my daughter was 17, that made my son 16.
Hmm.
He was a big boy
Hmm.
and he was getting bigger by the minute.
Hmm.
And the things that he endured as a younger son was not going to be tolerated anymore. And I could see that day the fire in his eyes. And I knew I got to do something to protect my son. And to this day, periodically we talk about it. We laugh and joke about different things. And he said, "You were right," because that is not going to keep happening.
He was gonna get his hind parts whooped. Is that what's gonna happen?
He was getting his hands like whooped. The hands were going to be laid. They were not going to be in Jesus' name. And so to this day, I credit my children. I credit God for using my children for saving my life.
I
Because
love it.
when I hear the stories on TV of women who did not make it out, I always pause and say, "Father, I thank you." Because it could have been me, literally. It could have been me.
I appreciate that. Now, when you're talking about mentoring nurses, especially mentoring nurses, because I believe that there's several areas in which nurses can be mentored, right? There's their spiritual, there's their financial, there's all kinds of areas. So what is your main focus when it comes to mentoring nurses?
My main focus is whatever God tells me to say and do. That's number one.
Okay.
But as far as can nursing,
Hmm.
mentoring and coaching, my goal is to walk them through the places that we all walked through and didn't know we were going to make it. It's really, thank you for making me think through the similarities of my story and my survivorship, my victorship, not survive. I'm not a survivor. I am a victor, and no longer a victim. And I can see some of those similarities in nursing. Nursing is a fabulous career. Frankly, I am sitting in a hotel right now, in yeah, I know it looks really pretty, but that's really not my room. But I like it. I wish it were. I am sitting in a hotel right now in New Mexico on somebody else's dime, where I am being paid to use my expertise, mentoring, use my expertise to evaluate what's going on with their organization, give them some clues and some suggestions about how they can do things differently, give them some things to consider, because that's what mentoring is. I invite you to consider this. It's not doing it for them, it's showing them the ropes. And so I sit here today because I stood the course. You sit where you sit today because you studied the course. When the boat was listing, you were able to find a place to make it right so you can get through. There is a place where nurses can get through, but we know those first years are a little rough. You run smack into some stuff you've never run into. You run into narcissistic personalities,
That's
just
right.
like the one I just described. You run into people who don't want to see you succeed. They don't teach that. So I
Mhm.
will be I will be mentoring and inviting people to consider these are some strategies that you can use so that you can get to the other side. So you can sit in a hotel room and talk to the likes of Dr. Viola Pierce, and with her great self.
Viola
We've
Pierce
been
is pretty
through some
great.
places. We've
That's
been
right.
through some things. We have a responsibility. Your Saturday morning, and thank you again, your Saturday morning clubhouse
Clubhouse.
snatched the knot out of me. And again, some things that is delayed obedience is still disobedience. And that disobedience can get so covered over. Because purpose is purpose. But if you don't do anything with it, it's just purpose at the grave.
That's right.
But a conversation came up about, we were talking about Black history. And if I can remember right, I said something about we are history makers. Now, yes, we're glad about our ancestor who made the stoplight and the curling iron and the ironing board. Those are wonderful things. And yes, we've made fabulous monuments to those people, and we record them and we repeat them every year from February 1st through February 28th. But what history are we making today?
That's
We
right.
have an amazing colleague who is making her story the first Black NP in her county in Texas, which is a whole nother something, something. We don't even have time to go into all of that. And so things are being said. What is our responsibility? What are we teaching other people? And one of the other people on the panel said, yes, I've been thinking about joining this mentoring program. And immediately my brain went to, oh, yes, I want to do that too. I want to do that too. But immediately when that thought came in, the spirit said, I told you to do that. You know, he rolls his neck at me. I don't know about other people. He does. He had to, you know, the spirit of God will talk to you the way you understand. If you only understand King James language, then he's going to talk to you in King James. Thou shalt start this business. I'm a West Side of Chicago girl, so he's going to give me all of this. I told you to do that. That's just how I came. I was like,
okay.
And when I tell you confirmation came, but I had to get the conviction first, not condemnation. God doesn't condemn. Conviction was, your listeners can't, your audio people can't see the facial expression. I hope they can feel it. You know those times when mama had to give you the look. We came up in a generation where all it took was a look.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so my spirit man got the look. When I tell you that I sat down on the airplane, on another airplane, I was on an airplane that very afternoon, because after the call, immediately it was just like, just download, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Name the whole bit. As a matter of fact, while we were still on the call, CAN came, CAN. The acronym came on the airplane. What CAN stood for came on the airplane. But I got on that airplane. By the time I got back home to Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, I had the whole plan. The whole plan. And it wasn't a super long day of traveling. It was during the last storm that Texas had. Just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
That's right. That's right. And you implemented that. I mean, you are on it. Like, you got the whole website out.
Listen, I had this, when I got that, I told you to do it. Because I was getting ready. Not that nothing was wrong with what she was getting ready to do, and that's a whole nother aspect of Phyllis. That's another layer of Phyllis that I can help somebody else through. What are those things in your life that are holding you back? Sometimes it's really not what you think it is. It's some other kind of trauma. It's some other kind of something. It's some other piece of baggage. What causes you to be slow on the draw?
That's right.
What is it? There is something back there. I'm not a licensed life coach, but I am a believer who believes that God will speak to me and give me what to say and when to say it. There will be an on-time word. I believe that. If I yield myself, he will give me what to say. And so my purpose is to help them navigate through the ups and downs, the valleys, the hills of nursing to get to a fabulous career. Nursing has been fabulous, but it hasn't been without challenges. And many fall away before they can get to the other side. As I'm saying now about COVID, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And this time I don't believe it's a train. This time I do believe, there is light on the other side. So if you can just stay the course, sometimes you got to lean back against the wall because that was a train. But if you if you hold your belly in real tight, hold your breath, you can make it through that tunnel because there is light on the other side.
I
I've been
love it.
there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love everything. The thing is that with your implementation and with this program, which is currently at no cost. So I encourage the audience currently today, okay, at no
No
cost.
delay. Get it today.
So you better go get in there, okay? But I like what you said about determining what your backstory is, because I just didn't understand that. I didn't understand that you know your fruit is determined by your root. You got to go back to that root. You got to understand the reasons why you're not doing the thing that you're doing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was in a conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and I said, I I don't I have no cares about what people think. I have a certain group of friends that I have around me that they will tell me when I'm acting foolish. The rest of the people, I can't, because many people will have opinions, right? But I had to understand the reasons why I felt that, because at first that was not my thing. Like, I always cared about how you felt. I always wanted to be, I always wanted to please who you were, right? And the reality is that we can't please everybody, right? We
Absolutely.
can't please everybody. And this right here is just, it's going to be amazing. Like, maybe I need to come to your mentoring um while it's free.
While it's free. Wow. And that's an italicized with quotation marks around it. While it's free.
That's right. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. And if you want to, so tell them where to look for you, so that I got all your information and the links, but tell them where to go.
So if you feel like this is you, as I love to say, can mentees succeed? Okay. Can mentees progress? That's not what I say. Let me say it right. Can mentees have success as they progress? There it is. I got it. It's early. It's early where I am, but that's okay. Can mentees have success as they progress? You're gonna go through life. You're gonna go through nursing school. If you hang in there, you're gonna get there. But how well you progress is up to you. Lock arms with me. Let me get in your ear. There's some wisdom. I've got some wisdom. Been through some stuff emotionally, physically, naturally, relationally. Some of those relationships were even on the job. And
Mhm.
so let me get in your ear. I can tell you what that is. I can teach you what is conflict management. Oh my goodness. Do you think conflict management might not have been helpful in an abusive marriage? Of course it could have. Work life balance, learning how to not turn off the voice that only has good for you and turn up the voice that has nothing but bad for you. Learning how to do that, whether that's individuals, whether that's circumstances. This isn't all God. I'm built. I am who I am. So He always comes in. There's I don't call it a meme. Is a what are those things? A reel that said,
Uh-huh.
"Don't ask me if you don't want to hear God, because I'm going to say God. Don't talk to me about it if you don't want me to say God, because I'm gonna say God." It is super cute. I was like, I need to do that one because that's gonna be the truth. Um, but this isn't church. My mentorship is not church, but it is definitely Christian. And so you can find me at Phyllis, Phyllis, C as in cat, Riles, Riles, consulting.com. Phyllis C. Riles, consulting.com. You go there, and as soon as you get there, you're going to see a flyer that talks about what can nurse mentoring and coaching is about. And then it'll say apply. You do that quick application. That application just gives me some information for you. That application period is going on right now through it ends on March the 1st. And the first cohort, the quarter 2 2022 cohort, begins April the 9th. We will meet twice a month. For my friend gave me some advice. We're still working through how long it's going to be. It's probably going to be either 3 months or 6 months. And we're going to walk with you and we're going to have a blast tiptoeing through the tulips. Okay. We're going to tiptoe through the tulips. We're going to have a good time. We're going to laugh. I believe that we will cry, but I know for a fact you will be changed forever because you can have success as you progress.
I love it. This is something that is absolutely needed. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And so I'm so super excited about the fact that you are mentoring these nurses because sometimes nurses can eat their young, and we need to help. We need to help nurses navigate those treacherous waters. So
Can I
thank
say
you.
something else to that? And I
Yeah.
know our time is well spent.
No, no, no.
My,
You're good.
my husband, the fabulous, the wonderful Elder James Riles, James Riles, we just call him James. We don't call him Elder. At home, we call him baby. But anyway, he loves aquariums. And so often, we don't have one right now. We moved recently and we don't have one. But he loves fish that live bear, tropical fish that live bear. And as I told you, nurses, I mentioned before, I don't know if I told you this recently, I say so many things, that nurses eat their own. That is still true today. We did a clubhouse and we found out that they still do that today. And so what we learned with our fish, you can watch them if you pay attention. It's mentoring. If you pay attention, you can tell when that mama fish is getting ready to deliver. And if you are intentional, come on, Dr. V word, if you are intentional, you can rescue those baby fish by putting them in a particular breeding container that they have in the stores because they know it's about the environment. Oh, girl, you almost activated something that we don't have time to be activated on here. There is a safety net. There is a safety net for you. Don't give up. There's somebody watching for you. There's somebody looking for you to be delivered so they can snatch you away from that thing that's trying to steal your destiny. Come on, come out and hang out with me. I want to cultivate your audacious goal. I want to cultivate you into a nurse that one day will help somebody else. I am Phyllis Carter Riles. I'm excited about this opportunity. I could talk for forever. Come hang out with me. I will allow you to talk. How about that?
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming this morning. You know how much I just love you as a person, and you're so super funny and sweet. And I just thank you. Thank you. So we have the Nursery Charge Summit that is coming up April 23rd, 2022. We will be learning how to recharge and how to transition into entrepreneurship. And that is what you want to do as a nurse. And so you can join us. And so the dates actually of your to sign up for your mentorship, and the last date for early bird VIP is the same thing, February 28th, March 1st, somewhere around there. And so I just want to make sure that you sign up for the Nursery Charge Summit because it's going to be amazing. The speakers are phenomenal. And this space in which we've cultivated is really a great environment. So I ask that you like and share this podcast, and we will talk to you guys later.